Hi, Irene here. Thanks for stopping by. Today I am scrapbooking a large format photo. This photo is 8 by 10 and it is a picture from a trip we took to Europe back in 2012. This is a castle in Germany. It's called Schloss Neuschwanstein. It is in Bavaria and it's located in the Alps. It's an absolutely gorgeous castle, just nestled in all these beautiful trees. It's stunning. This is just a little tiny piece of it. This is like the front of the castle, but it's just absolutely gorgeous. In fact, they say it's the inspiration for Cinderella's castle at Disneyland. So this is going to be the photo on my left-hand side. This is my focal photo, so it's got some really, really great presence. Here on the right-hand side, I am going to be bringing in my catalog. This is a current catalog from Stampin' Up! And every month I do a scrapbook collaboration with the ladies over at Crafty Concepts with Erin. In fact, I will link to all their videos in the description below in case you want to check those out. But this month we are working on this grid style scrapbook layout. When I saw this one the first time, I knew it screamed right-hand page because it just looks like it's supporting pictures. There's, you know, a lot of small pictures and then a nice large presence on the left. In fact, Melanie over at Mel's Stamp Gallery, I think it's called, she mentioned last month when she did this layout that she was using this as a supporting page to this. So she definitely thought ahead. So if you're interested in these sketches, they're on page 28. So I like to put together my own sketch just so I have a blueprint of what I'm doing. And the way I looked at the initial sketch, there were 12 what look like 2x2s to me, which are pretty small pictures unless you have just something small you kind of want to add or what have you. So I decided I wanted my photos to be 3x3. So I did 2 rows of 3x3 with an additional one down here. I'm going to use my title block to take up the space of 2 photos. And then I added 3 more photos down the side. So it kind of carried that grid style concept from the right page to the left page. So let me bring in the papers that I am going to be playing with today. I pulled out my Sweet Days of Autumn paper pack, as well as my Weekend Adventures paper pack. And the one paper that I really liked out of the Weekend Adventures that made sense to me, that looked like it would match, is this green tonal tree pattern. And it's green on green, and you've just got a bunch of different trees. So I thought that, you know, it's the Alps. It's perfect, right? So that's a really great contender. My other option is these papers here. Let me pull them out. Which is another tree-inspired paper. So I have this wonky grid paper in brown, looks like pecan pie. I knew I was going to do brown and green again, the mountains, the Alps, the trees. Then there's this cute little floral one. In fact, there's a flower that grows in the Alps called an Edelweiss, and I'm actually using it as my embellishment for my my layout. But it's a little tiny, not a daisy, it's really an interesting shaped little petaled flower. And then I have this other tree paper, which is, looks like early espresso. So it's a pretty dark brown with these multicolored trees. So just wanted to lay these out just to see which one I thought would work the best. So I'm thinking, you know, the background needs to be this wonky brown. And then I thought that this would look really cute on top of that. So that was option 1. And then option 2, I was going to swap it and have the green in the back and then the brown trees on the right. And just wanted to maybe bring in my photo real quick and just see if one looked better than the other. And I have to tell you, initially, I really thought I was going to go with this because it's the trees. They look like trees. It made sense, but it kind of seems like it washes out my photo. When I put it over here on this side, I just feel like it really causes my photo to pop. So let me see if I know I have two of those. Let me see if I have one more of the tree. I think this is the reverse. Up, this is the reverse of the wonky stripes. So I am good to go. So let's pull out those two so we can, I need to get a visual. I'm a very, very visual individual. So I have to see, I can't just like envision it in my head. I have to literally see it. So this is my thought. I am going to place the big one, my large photo, over here. You're not going to see too much of this paper. It's going to get covered up, at least on the left side, a lot. Obviously, the green is going to be a 12 by 12. And then the brown paper here, let me see if I can find my sketch here in the pile. I do have measurements. So the brown paper will be 11 3/4 from left to right. So my width, and then my height is 11.5 because I'm going to have just 3 sides showing. So my plan is to bring these two together. See if I can scooch them so that they basically look like they're one continuous layout. So not a full frame style layout. So this is what I'm thinking. Also, let me bring in my photos really fast. And in my photos, I'm thinking I want to bring in one more color, and I'm not sure. Initially I thought blue, but because there's so much blue in all my pictures, you know, all the lakes, the skies, you know, my son's cap, the sky there. So let me bring, I cut down a few blue mats. Let me see if that's going to look good against all of my tree paper. So I'm going to mat each one in white. Just use this as an example for right now, and then in blue. So to think about that, if I want to do blue, or maybe I'll bring in pecan pie. That might be a good option now that I'm not using the other paper ideas. So let me see. Not too excited about that either. So let me take a second. I'm going to think about this and decide if I'm going to stay with the blue or if I'm going to cut down papers and maybe pick out maybe this rusty, kind of like a Cajun craze or something. So let me take a second to think about that, and we will get some mats cut down. I tried out a couple of different papers to kind of match the little trees in the background, and I decided on using the light side of Mossy Meadow. So I thought that looked good. I really wanted the blue, but it just didn't pan out. So I adhered everything down. Everything is double matted white, and then with the green. The smaller pictures are, the green mat is 3 by 3, the white is 2 3/4, and then the photo itself is 2.5 squares. So those are all the same, and I did the same here with the 8 by 10. So it's an 8 by 10 mat, then a 7 3/4 by 9 3/4, and then 7.5 by 9.5. So I am putting a couple of pictures in flip flaps because I did have a few extras, and those I will adhere down. This one here I'm also going to be putting in a flip flap. This is actually King Ludwig's father's castle, which is right next door because we all have 2 castles. So it wasn't my focal point of this layout, so I only cut it in, in a small 3 by 3. But that's going to go there along with my journaling that I still need to print out. This is going to be my title block, and I did get it started already. My thought is, so I used ChatGPT to come up with a title, and it came back with a straight out of a storybook. And I didn't want storybook. I like fairy tale because he's the fairy tale king. It's a fairy tale castle. So I changed it to straight out of a fairy tale. I just printed this or cut this out on my Cricut, and then printed the straight out of as a Google Doc just onto thinner cardstock so I could feed it through my printer because I don't have a rear feed printer. So, but I wanted to add some texture to this, the white cardstock here, and I've never done this before, so hopefully it works. If not, I just have to reprint that back paper. So what I would like to do is I want to add what looks like brick, just kind of to replicate the brick of the castle down below, just to give it some texture and some, just some more dimension. So what I am going to do, I'm going to put down a mat here so I don't make a mess on my table here. But what I want is to take this piece here, and we'll put it that way. I'm going to take, first I'm going to take some smoky slate ink. I don't have any re-inkers. I'm just going to wipe some on here. I want to try to emulate the brick. I want it to be kind of gray. So I'm going to put a fair amount down because I'm going to feed it in to my grit paste. This is a Ranger Distress Grit Paste. It's called Snowfall. Let's hope I can open it. So, and I keep the plastic on it to keep it from drying out. And I'm just going to scoop some out onto my my little block here. And I'm hoping this works. So I'm just going to mix it in, trying to create some gray concrete, I guess. It is very gritty, so it's going to have some texture. I don't think I need a lot. I just need to spread a thin coat over my stencil. That's a Tim Holtz stencil. It doesn't have a name to it, so it's just a brick stencil. So I'm going to go with this. So what I want to do is I'm going to, since I can see my words, because I don't want to go over the words, I'm just going to, I hope you can see this on camera. Let me slide this up a little higher, sorry. And I hope I keep my head out of there. I'm just going to wipe it on and drag it across and just try to fill in all the spaces that are open. Like I said, I'm going to try to avoid my title that I have printed out there, and I'm going to lift it up, and I'm just going to try to slide it over there. The grit mat, I'm hoping will hold it down. I don't want to lay it down and make too much of a mess, just in case it doesn't work out. So this is an experiment for me. I like mixed media. I'm trying to get into it some more, but I'm very, very new to it. So, and we're going to go, I think, one more time like that, and pick up whatever I have left here. Let's get that little bit off there, and just do this last bit here. I know this is going to take a bit to dry, so I'm going to lay it aside and give it a bit of time to dry while I clean everything up. So let's look. Not too sure if I'm sold on it, but it doesn't look bad. I did put a thick piece of watercolor paper behind it because the paper itself, like I said, to be able to run it through my printer had to be kind of thin. So I did reinforce it. So I'm going to lay this down. I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to clean up all my tools here real quick so nothing dries on them, and I'll be right back. So my grit paste is all dry. I was able to do my journaling for my flip flap. I attached my other flip flap, did a little wash, and attached all my adhesives to the back of my title because I am going to be using some glue to glue that down. So I'm just going to do that real quick, a bunch of little dabs, and then I'm going to center that. And while that dries, we'll be able to put down the rest of the embellishments, which are pretty simple. Like I had said earlier, I'm just doing little Edelweiss, little flowers that I have a die for. They're actually poinsettias. I tried to cut out the Edelweiss on the Cricut, but the cut was too intricate, and for the size I needed, it didn't work out. So I'm just going to lay this down. Figure it's going to need the extra glue. Those are just the mini Stampin Dimensionals from Stampin' Up. They're the really small ones, and I just trimmed them down to fit where I needed them to fit. So I'm just going to take a block and place that right on top, just so that that sticks down. And while that's gluing down, these are my the flowers I created. So an Edelweiss has these really long, thin, irregular length leaves, and they're actually kind of soft. This is the best I could do to replicate them. And so I thought I would just do maybe just a couple. I'm not going to do a lot of embellishing. I did want to, before this maybe glues down, I wanted to attach this underneath. I'm thinking I'm going to use that as like a little landing spot for one of my flowers. So I'm going to leave that little F from Fairy Tale lifted up. I can always glue that down in a minute. So let's put that there, glue the rest down. I'm going to put a flower right here. So lay one there. I have several others, and I thought I would just build a couple little clusters here and there around my layout. I also have some leaf dies there from, I think most of these are from, actually I think they're all from this Sizzix die that is the poinsettia. It's called Festive Foliage. It's a Sizzix thin lit, but it cuts fine on my my Stampin' Emboss machine. It cuts through. And then I have these leaves here, and I think these just came out of the Changing Leaves set. So just whatever foliage works for you. But I thought I'd put the bigger ones here with the larger flowers, because I have two sizes of flowers, and just do it super simple. Then add just a couple leaves with each tiny cluster. So we're going to put that there, that there. Like I said, I'm going to have one here along with a little foliage there and a little bit of leaf here. So I'm thinking that's going to probably be the bulk of my embellishing. So I'm just going to glue those down super quick. Just going to be using the Bearly Art Glue. I'm going to attach it mainly in the center so I can slip my leaves in, and it can give it still a little bit of lift. There's not a whole lot going on down here in the photo, so I think it's okay if I cover up part of the photo with my leaves and my flowers. I'm going to tuck that one in here. I can hear my dog growling. She might bark. She can hear me in here, so if she does, that's Alice. So I'm going to put another one here. I'm trying to stay on the paper so that I don't have to trim anything off because it'll look better. And again, I'm not going to attach all the leaves down, just so that they have a little movement, a little lift, so they don't look so terribly flat. I'm going to grab another block and just press that down so that holds down while it dries. Okay, there and here. These pictures here from our trip, the top one is the town that you come into to go see Neuschwanstein, and I believe the town's called Hohenschwangau, which is the same name as this castle here. And so you drive in, this is the town you see, then you take a horse-drawn, oops, losing that there, like a carriage or a wagon really, to the tour area. And I'll lift the pictures up in the very end so you can get a closer look. And then this is a picture, a larger picture of the castle. It still goes further back, so it's actually super large. So let me grab here a couple more blocks. These are my little weights. Let's hold those down. And then let's get this one stuck a little. Pull that off. Get this one adhered down. So this is just pecan pie, and it's one of the dies in my set. But I think if we put that just gives it a little bit of place. A little place for the flower to land, and this is going to need a little weight as well to hold it down, especially with that grit paste. The grit paste actually, it dried pretty quickly. It probably took 20 minutes to dry well, so it wasn't terribly long, but it did, if you can see, I don't know if you can see the glitter. There's glitter in it, so it's shiny concrete. So put that one there. Oops, lost my weave. Put that on top to dry, and then I'm just going to then need to adhere down actually the whole entire title block. So I think I'm going to wait for that one for just a second. Place those aside, and let's see if we can adhere this down. I think I'm just going to use some glue. I think that's going to be the easiest. It is pretty thick. There's probably 4 layers of paper on there. Like I said, I use watercolor paper to give it just some more stability so that it would lay flatter. And I want to put this little one here. It can actually sit a little bit underneath the flip flap, so that's okay. Actually, I think I need to move it up just a bit. And then just adhere these last couple of leaves. As I mentioned before, this is a collaboration with the ladies over at Crafty Concepts with Erin, and you really should go check them out. They're very, very talented ladies, and so that link will be down below to the different videos if you want to check those out. So let's see, hoping that they're glued down. If not, they'll just take a few minutes. I'm not too worried about that. Give it a nice little press. I'm actually happy how that came out. It got a little smudgy here. I didn't have, I think, the stencil flat enough. I was concerned it was going to spread all over the place, but that is my layout. Let me pull this in real quick. I did gut out my paper, so I did use white cardstock on the back. That way I could save the majority of this, because you only have a 1/4 inch all the way around. So I cut out about an inch border all the way around. So, but this is the little town that you drive into, and then you get to take a horse-drawn wagon, and then, you know, this view of the castle from down below. And let me just take this off. I just used some glue dots to hold this in place so that it doesn't wiggle while I'm trying to put things together. Sorry about that. I noticed my camera was on low battery and I wasn't positive it was recording anymore, so I had to double check. So here is my my title block. I'm really happy with it, the way it did come out. Like I said, just a little smudgy, but most of that is hidden. Got my flip flaps with all of my journaling, and again, a couple extra photos there that I could hide underneath. I will list everything I used in the description box below. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do. And if you enjoyed my video, if you don't mind giving it a like, I greatly appreciate it. And if you need any more scrapbooking inspiration, I will link a couple other videos for you to check out. Until next time, have a good day. Bye.